see what Wartburg is doing to make an important assessment more useful.
Coaches, fans, and wrestlers gathered at Joe's Nighthawk for Fight Night last week. The annual event features local high school and college wrestling head coaches. The event included coaches from all the high school wrestling programs who swept the state team titles last year. Fight Night was one of the first opportunities for fans to hear what Jim Miller expects from the Knights this season.
After the revisions are made, Dean of Faculty Farrell Menzel says this proposal will be brought up at the fall faculty meeting and, if approved, will potentially be put into play as early as a year from now.
Thanksgiving will be here before we know it. Students across campus say they have that special food they can't resist around this time of year.
Anything that my grandma makes. She makes like the no-bake cookies, like what the bakery at Wartburg makes, but they're grandma made, so they're amazing.
All the sweets and candies that are all out there, pumpkin pie especially, I could probably eat a whole pie to myself.
But all that food can really add up. Director of Wellness at the W, Don Wegman, says the best thing to do during the holiday season is to eat like you normally would and plan ahead.
Some people think, and I'm going to save up and I'm not going to eat all day so that I can just pig out. I think that's the worst thing that anyone can do.
Wegman also suggests using a salad plate instead of a normal-sized one, filling it half full of fruits and vegetables, a fourth full of meat, and a fourth full of pasta or starches. Another way Wegman says people can add calories is while preparing their food. Sneaking a little pie or stuffing could add up to 400 calories before you even sit down to eat.
On an average, we can gain anywhere from a couple pounds, through Thanksgiving and Christmas. Well, if you gain a couple pounds every year, that adds up.
Some students say they can stay away from this food, while others say enjoy and worry about it later.
I know how to say no when it comes to some of that stuff. Just I can say no to myself. Clayton, I can't do that, and usually I won't eat something unhealthy.
When it's the holidays, I just come to terms with the fact that there's always the New Year's resolution to fall back on.
Wegman says in the end, everyone should enjoy the holidays, but to always eat in moderation. The way to stay healthy is to go against Mom's rule of cleaning your plate. Wegman says if you are full, wrap the rest up and bring it home with you. We posted some healthy alternatives to the recipes you normally make around this time of year on our website at www.wartburgtv.org. Just click on the news page. Senator Bill Heckrath has been serving District 9 for 4 years. 4 issues facing Heckrath as he seeks a second term in the Iowa Senate are education, maintaining jobs, keeping taxes affordable, and maintaining and growing the local economy. Heckrath says his #1 priority is education. He supports core curriculum standards and hopes schools will exceed these standards.
We haven't removed that local control. All we've laid is a floor. It said, a lot of people will say, well, those aren't good enough. Absolutely. That's why we're saying they're the minimums.
He also says schools cannot continue to hold such standards if the budget is cut by freezing property taxes.
If you not only reduce the money that they get from the state because they're losing students, but also freeze the property taxes, that's a double whammy. I mean, that's a double hit on those folks. And, one of the things that I am extremely proud of, and I will, fight till the end, is to protect these rural schools.
Heckrath says 85 to 90% of the state's budget is used for education, human services, and public safety, so reducing taxes would only hurt people of District 9.
There's not one of us that likes to pay taxes, but there comes a point in time where you've got to say, the tax that I pay is providing a service that I need.
One program Heckrath has been working with during his current term is Offshore Iowa. This is a program that works to get companies to build in smaller towns instead of larger cities.
These numbers that people throw around as far as, well, we added these jobs and that jobs and everything, that's great for the state of Iowa, but how many of those landed in Denver, Iowa? How many of those jobs landed in Plainfield, Iowa? That's where I've got to have my focus.
Heckrath says the main reason he wants to serve for another 4 years is because he's able to help people.
At least people know someone's caring and listening and trying to get something done. And as I've told so many people, I can go home at night and look my wife in the eyes and say, I helped somebody today. There's not too many other careers where you can do that.
Last week we profiled Democratic candidate Bill Heckrath as part of our 2-part series, profiling the candidates vying for State Senate District 9. This week I got the chance to sit down with Republican candidate Bill Dix of Shell Rock to talk about the issues facing District 9. Farmer by morning and evening and a politician on the campaign trail during the day. Dix operates a 3rd-generation family farm business producing melons, squash, corn, and especially at this time of year,
pumpkins. He says the #1 reason he is running is to secure a future for his children where they will have less debt.
About a year ago or so, we as a family sat down and talked about what's going on in our state today, and made a decision at that time that things don't need to be the way they are.
One of his priorities is to put into place freezes on property taxes and new state employee hiring. He says this will help the state get its budget back on track.
We've increased the number of state employees over 27% in the last 2 years. That's primary reason why we see costs escalating out of control.
Though some cuts are necessary, others are not. Dix did not agree with last year's 10% across-the-board cut. College students were especially hurt when the Iowa tuition grant was reduced.
In the future, as we're appropriating it, the tuition grant should be a priority, and there shouldn't be across-the-board cuts addressing or reducing expenditures from those things that are our priorities.
Dix says he understands how important local businesses are, as he has his own business selling his crops wholesale to stores like the Waverly Hy-Vee.
Attracting new opportunities, new career opportunities, by talking with the people who are here now in our employment community and building on the expertise that they have, the relationships that they have with other companies.
He also says District 9 needs to stop sending jobs abroad. Dix knows the road ahead may have hard decisions, but he says he is staying optimistic. He encourages all to come out and vote on November 2nd.
Nikki and Maribel, with the end of the semester comes the annual filling out of SRIs, and one faculty committee has been working to get a new form of the SRI approved. The form was supposed to be on last month's faculty meeting schedule, but got pushed back at the last minute. With this potentially being improved, I went out and asked students what they thought of SRIs.
Some students have mixed feelings about the importance of SRIs.
I think for the most part, any class I've had, students take them pretty seriously, but just letting the students know that they can make a difference if they're not happy with how a certain class is going or with a certain professor.
Yeah, I do, but I don't think that people take them very seriously. It's at the end of the semester and they kind of just fill it out quickly.
So what can be done to help students take this assessment more seriously? Improving the questions on the Student Rating for Instruction, or SRI form, to make the answers more useful. The Appointment, Rank, and Tenure Committee has put together an extensive proposal to make these changes. Committee Chair Dr. Brian Jones says the way questions are asked will be the biggest difference.
In particular, the 4 essay question prompts on the back of the form have not been satisfying to all the faculty. We've felt like we were getting answers that just weren't really very helpful.
SRIs were on the schedule to be discussed at the spring faculty meeting. The SRI proposal was revised by different faculty groups and several changes were suggested. This made the Appointment, Rank, and Tenure Committee decide to take more time on the proposal. It was removed from the schedule for the spring meeting and moved to the faculty meeting in the fall.
Students should understand that the form is, that the reason the process is taking so long is that the form is exceedingly important. I mean, tenure decisions hang on this form.
Through Project Orange, it was expressed that some students thought some professors did not take SRI seriously.
In my experience as a professor, that's not been true. I don't know any of my colleagues who ignore the forms or even treat them with any sort of, what do I care what the students think.
Jones says the SRI form will go back to the faculty groups where it may receive even more revisions. The current revisions being made to the form are changing all 4 essay questions on the back and some of the questions on the front.
After the revisions are made, Dean of Faculty Farrell Menzel says this proposal will be brought up at the fall faculty meeting, and if approved, will potentially be put into play as early as a year from now.